This is gonna be the only editing guide you'll need to watch to get to 1K subscribers and monetize your channel. Hey, I'm Benjamin, I'm a video editor, thumbnail designer, and YouTuber with over 5 million views to my name. I've monetized 2 YouTube channels, both of which I've quit to help you reach your goals on YouTube. I'm saying that this is the only course that you'll need to get to 1K, because well, that's what I did on this channel that you're watching on right now. I got to 1K subscribers within just 3 months. This guide was made in Premiere Pro, but it applies to basically any editing software that isn't hugely outdated. So Windows Movie Maker 2011 might not work. I actually used to edit on that in the past, but I wouldn't recommend it nowadays. Let's not waste any time, this is our agenda today. 1. The best software you can use, both free and paid. 2. The editing objectives that you should always keep in mind when doing anything. 3. The simple workflow that I use that you can copy if you want. The third section is basically the entire course, but the second one is actually needed so we can understand why we do which cuts and how they can help us get more views and better our retention rates. I'm hyped for this. If you are, let's get into this right now. Editing software. S tier, Premiere Pro. No doubt about it, there is no editing software that is more commonly used by semi and professional YouTubers than Premiere Pro, meaning 90% of presets and tutorials are made for it. And if you know how to edit in Premiere Pro, you can also make some good money on the side by editing videos for other YouTubers, who most likely will require you to work with Premiere. Now, Premiere Pro is paid, but I've heard that there are ways to get it for free. But that's all I can say about that. A tier, DaVinci Resolve and CapCut. Both of these ones have a free version. If your PC or laptop isn't a complete potato, then get DaVinci Resolve and not CapCut. B tier, both of these probably belong in A tier too, but this ranking is biased. Final Cut Pro is Mac only, so I never used it. It is also paid and costs $300. Vegas Pro looks confusing as hell to me, so I've never used it either. This one costs between $150 and $300 depending on which version you buy. That's it, there are no other tiers because all other editing software is irrelevant. No, I'm kidding, there's probably other software that's pretty good, but just use Premiere, DaVinci or CapCut and you'll be fine. So now that we have our software, we should understand the basics of how to edit and why we edit and how we can actually get more views with editing. Objective. The goal when making any YouTube video professionally is to give the viewer the best watching experience possible. This means that if you're making an educational video like I'm doing right now, it probably means to not do too many edits and too many cuts, because if I spoke like Mr. Beast here and used loads of sound effects, then that would be confusing as hell and you wouldn't know what's going on. However, using these sound effects just a few seconds ago illustrated the point that I was trying to make. So really that's the thing you need to figure out while editing. Does this edit make sense or is it just useless? If it's useless, don't do it. Basically, all you need to think about is this going to be good for the viewer? If you're making educational videos, you're going to think about, does this help the viewer understand the topic better? If you're making entertainment video, it's going to be, does this entertain the viewer? For educational content, a common mistake would be to think, oh, my viewers would learn more if they watched the unedited video. Which might be true for one specific person, but for the majority of people, it would mean they wouldn't watch the video, which leads to the algorithm showing it to less people and therefore less people learning what you have to teach. So editing sometimes can be like a necessary evil in a way. Editing workflow. Let's get into the actual editing guide now. In this section, I'll show you exactly how I do my cuts, sound effects, music choice, transitions, subtitles, overlays, GIFs, just to name a few. We'll go over everything and I'll show you exactly how to do it. Alright, so let's get started. I just made a new project and now we're gonna import some of the media. There are multiple ways of importing stuff. If you want to be a weirdo, you can go to the import tab and then select your footage from there. Or you can double click on the project and then select the files. Or what I usually just do is I press Windows and E to open up the Windows Explorer. Then I go to my videos folder, recording, and then I just drag and drop this stuff in there. And then I'll also usually go to my editing utensils folder and then drag in my music. Another way to do this is going to Window and then Media Browser. And in this media browser, you can also go to your, for example, editing utensils, and here in my music folder. And then I could just drag and drop from the media browser without having to import everything. But personally, this is just like personal preference. I like to have everything in the project folder itself. Then I can really recommend you to rename all of your files. So just double click on this one. For example, this is main recording. And then if you have some B-roll, you can make a bin called B-roll. And B-roll is basically anything that you layer on top of your existing footage. So if we just make a new sequence real quick, which I'll also show you the best settings. So for you, you'll probably be like over here, then you go to settings, put this on custom, time base 60. The 1920 by 1080 is perfect. All of these settings should be good. Then audio 48,000 Hertz, video preview, same thing. And then these are good settings for a sequence. So if you drag and drop your footage into there, and this is where you're talking, then this is going to be your A-roll. And anything you put on top is B-roll, so you need to import that. For me, it's quite a few screenshots of what people said about the thing that I'm going to talk about in the video. So I'm just going to import that here, and yeah, Sorting these folders doesn't seem important, but it will be in the long run, honestly. Now, if you play back your video and this is laggy for some reason, then make sure to put this on 1/4 or the lowest that is possible. And you can also right click on your main recording file, go to proxy, create proxies, and then click on OK with these settings. That way you're gonna have a lower quality file for the preview, but when you render the video in the end, it's gonna have the original quality. So let's go over some of the tools, which are gonna be here on the left, and then there are some over here as well. And by the way, if you don't see any of these windows, well, you're not gonna see these two, that's normal. We'll get to those later. But if you don't see, for example, effects and stuff like that, you can go to Window and then search for the window. These are the ones that I currently have enabled. So the first tool is the selection tool, which you get by pressing V. With this, you can just click on footage. It's going to be the main thing that you're going to be using. You can drag things up and down to the side, stuff like that. The next one is track select forward. So if you have multiple cuts over here and you don't want to just move this part, but you want to move it the entire video, you press A and use this track select forward tool. There's also backwards, which is Shift A. You can get to these tools by just holding long on this one, and then you can select the other one, for example. Or you just hit the hotkey, which I can really recommend. Then there's Control Z, Control Shift Z to redo things. You probably know these things already. There's ripple edit tools, all kinds of tools. I don't really use those, but the remix tool is really cool. So if you import a song, but you only want it to be, let's say, this short, then you just do that with the remix tool. It's gonna analyze the clip, and it's gonna remix the song, which is honestly just insane. I know I didn't show you the original, but with these thingies, like when it shows this, then that means that it made a transition here. So let's see if we can hear the song transition. And no, I couldn't. I can't show you the rest of this because that one is actually copyrighted. It's the song of the sad samurai dog meme. Then these three I don't really use. Then there's the type tool, which if you select it or you press T, you can then drag like a square here. And what is that frame? And in this square, you can now type your text. We'll go more in depth over text later. Then on the playback window itself, you have toggle effects. So for example, if we put on a circle crop on here, and if we toggle this off, then it's gonna toggle off the effects, which is sometimes good for playback if it's laggy. Then if you want to export this frame, you can click on this camera thing. For example, that can be like helpful if you want to pause the video right here and then extend this frame, you then export it and import it again. If you click on this plus thing, you can also drag other buttons into your menu here. The ones that I can really recommend you do is add show guides, which is this. And for that, you also add show rulers. So if you drag down from the ruler, you can add a guide. And I really recommend you to set guides in the middle of the image. So this is 1920 by 1080. 1920 divided by 2 is 960. So if we go to 960. So this guide in the middle is in the middle. Same thing for 1080. And then if you scale up your footage a bit, you can then center yourself, which you should usually do. Of course, you don't need this for gaming content, for example, but if you want to just make sure that something is even, for example, then you can use these guides, and I'm gonna toggle those off again. If you created a proxy over here with create proxy, you can then also toggle these on and off with this button. And that's pretty much it for the basic tools. So let's just get started with some editing, and I'll explain the rest along the way. Alright, before we do that, let's go over playback real quick. So if you press space, the video is gonna play. If you press J, it's gonna move backwards. K is pause. L is move forward, and if you press L again, for example, you can speed it up by a lot. And if you play back and then when you pause, it selects the clip and you don't want that, you go to sequence and turn off selection follows playhead. Just so you've heard it, you probably don't know why that would be important, but there are sometimes moments where it's really annoying. So let's first do the raw cut of this video, meaning we cut out the silences. And for this, I really just look at the audio. The video doesn't matter at all for this. Well, sometimes it does if you like show something without talking, but in this case, I know that I only talked and there was nothing like showing going on in the video. And the hotkeys that I'm using for these is, so I go to the end of the clip, then I press Control and K, which I think is a custom hotkey, but I have K here on my mouse, so that's really useful. Other than that, you can pretty much set hotkeys to whatever you want, but let me show you which one it is. So Control and then K, add edit. You need to set yourself a hotkey for add edit, which basically cuts the footage wherever your marker is. And then if I go here and then press Q, then it cuts to the last cut. Like it ripple deletes till the last cut. Ripple trim previous to playhead. And I think this is default. And then if there was a cut here, and we want to trim till here, this part, then I press W over here. These hotkeys are really important. Then I also have D to select this, and then Control space to delete the cut that is selected. And the hotkeys for those are D select clip at playhead and Control space ripple delete. It doesn't matter which hotkeys you use, but you need to use hotkeys. They're gonna save you so much time. Now I tried making one cut as bad as possible, so this is how it sounds like. And you kind of can hear somewhat of an audio pop. If you ever have this, you select both clips, press Ctrl D, or you go to effects and search up constant power and drag and drop this effect onto here. Make it a bit smaller, and then it's not gonna be as noticeable. Now if your audio quality is really bad, you can actually Ctrl M to export, or you go over to the export tab and then export the whole thing in MP3. Let me actually do that real quick. Open up Adobe Podcast Enhance, which is a free like enhanced thing. Get your audio, drag it in there, and then it's gonna enhance your audio, getting rid of background noises and leveling out the audio. Now if you have an accent like mine, then sometimes it might not work, so I'm gonna play this back in a second, but usually it does help. And by the way, this is also free for CapCut users or anything like that. You don't need an Adobe license, so let's play it back.
This video has been sponsored by absolutely no one except myself, but this will interest you, so listen up. Today I'm releasing a private YouTuber community with different kinds of courses.
So I'm not sure if this is better, to be honest. Like the background noise is removed, but...
and so much more. If you join, you'll be making good money with your YouTube channel.
It's kind of like AI-y. Yeah, I'm not gonna use it. What I forgot to mention as well during the rough cut, if it's a longer video, you should also every once in a while press M to set markers, and then for example write like excited or something. And these markers can help you with the music choice later on. Because after the rough cut is done, I usually go over to adding the music. So I'm gonna start it with the Spear of Justice, which is a really good intro song usually. Now for this song in particular, it starts exactly at the beginning, so I don't need to do anything. But if you wanted to have this section, for example, this one, you can press I here, or click on this thingy, then go to where you want the clip to end, press O, or click on that thingy. And if you now drag and drop the song, then it's going to be only this section, and it's called setting in and out points. But for me, I wanted to start at the very beginning, but I don't want it to be too long. So I'm going to import this part. Now if we play this back, you can hear that you can't hear anything because the music is too loud. So select it, press G, or go to right click audio gain, and then for example, minus 20 decibels maybe.
This video has been sponsored by absolutely no one.
And then we're going to select the upper part and increases by 4 decibels.
Except myself, but this will interest you.
And just make sure that these thingies on the right don't go into the red part. So this should be okay. So I want this song to only go for 5 seconds in the beginning. Then we're gonna switch over to maybe one of my Dragoon downloaded songs. This might be a good chance to go over where to find music. So first of all, you can just search up free music download and then no copyright, but in this case it already did that, so freemusicarchive.com and Pixabay are good sources. And here you can literally just download these songs. On Pixabay, if you download something, this one for example, you would now have to add this section into your description, but I mean that's fine. And then you can also go to Dragoon, who's a YouTuber who always puts his music into the description. I love it so much that he does that. So the Minecraft Cookie Clicker experience, for example, if we mute this, down here it's gonna say all of the songs that he used. And that's why one of my music folders is called Dragoon. Yeah, I actually realized that this song fits a lot better than the first one, and we're just gonna use it all the way. And then at the end, I usually like to add, no, not a constant power, but an exponential fade. Then we'll have it just be a few seconds like so.
So I promise it will help you.
There we go. Because if you cut out music right away, then people are gonna notice and it's gonna be annoying. And also if this video continued over here, we would now add another song like right over here, so that this song starts while this other one is ending. And then we can also add a constant gain, or Ctrl D, and have this one fade in while the other one is fading out. So once you have your music added, I would usually recommend you to just start on the intro, which for this sample is literally just 5 seconds the intro. And if you know where your B-roll footage is gonna go, you can already add that right now, but you don't need to add like transitions or any effects yet. So let me actually play the video that we have so far with this rough cut and this music, And then after that, we're gonna add some stuff together.
This video has been sponsored by absolutely no one except myself, but this will interest you, so listen up. Today I'm releasing a private YouTuber community with different kinds of courses, personalized help, group coaching calls, access to bigger YouTubers that you can literally just DM and ask for feedback, and so much more. If you join, you'll be making good money with your YouTube channel in no time. And John, for example, said that his views actually doubled after he watched one of the courses, so check out the link in the description below. I promise it will help you.
So yeah, there's a lot of B-roll that we can add, but let's start with the intro. So the first step that I literally always do is just add some text. So we're just gonna type anything right there, select it all with Control A, go over to the effect controls, open this up, and then get a good font, which my font is usually Erasbold ITC or Gotham. So we'll use Erasbold ITC. Then center it in the middle, center it in the height, scale it up to like, I don't know, 180 something. Yeah, 160 should be fine. Then we'll add a stroke, a black one, with a width of, I don't know, 7. Yeah, that should be good. Then we'll also add a shadow with more opacity, also in black. And that looks pretty good for text. So when moving it around and you press Control, you can then center it much more easily. And I want to have it down there. And the first 5 seconds, I'm just going to subtitle completely. So I just extended this text layer. And then I'm going to do cuts for all the different words. This video has been sponsored. And then I just go over it again and add the text. Once that's done, I'll select all of them and add a text pop in LT. I'm using Finza's presets, but I'm not allowed to share those online, so in the description you'll find my own presets, which I haven't made yet, but I'll make those. And it's gonna look just as good as Finza's. So I'm just gonna use the nice pop-in one, and then when we play this back,
this video has been sponsored by
it looks like that. And then I want like these anime lines that go in from the outside to the middle. You'll see what I mean in a second. So we're just gonna search that up. Green screen, anime lines, effects, overlay. Just spam some keywords and you'll usually find what you're searching for. That's exactly what I'm searching for. Yep, and that's perfect. We're just gonna copy that, go to cobalt.tools, which is the best YouTube audio and video downloader because it doesn't have any ads or anything like that. And we can just drag that into, no, not the music folder. No, please no. We can drag that on here. And then double click on that. And then if we drag this thingy over here, then it only imports the video and not the audio, which this video like doesn't really have any audio, but we don't want like an empty audio file, you know? So once we have that, we'll go to effects, search up Ultra Key, drag and drop that on there, effect controls, scroll down, select the color of the green, go to setting aggressive, and that's it. This video has been sponsored by, and then kind of have like a rage effect. Absolutely no one. So we'll search up triggered sound effect. And this is literally like the entire editing process. Like you just search up the stuff that you want, and then you add it. And the rest of it probably just comes down to practice. Oh, that's loud, Jesus. Okay, but absolutely no one. Cut that out. Yeah, let's just take this section. Absolutely no one. Cut out. And then we can do a fade out. This is also going to be in my preset pack. This is actually one that I made myself as well. So yeah, it's going to like fade out. But once again, we also need to add an Ultra Key. There we go. And then probably minus 40 decibels.
By absolutely no one.
Never mind, that was too much.
By absolutely no one.
How am I gonna transition this in? Let's do a swoosh from the bottom. So now we're gonna get to keyframes. So I'm gonna put keyframes on both position and scale. Actually, scale is useless. Let's not do that. And then go a few frames in and select and set another one for position. And then this position one, we're going to drag down so that it starts from the bottom and just it moves into the frame like that. This is a bit too short, so we'll extend that. And then go to temporal interpolation and choose ease out. That just makes it look a bit smoother, but this should be fine. And then we can do a whoosh. So let me show you SoundQ. SoundQ, it's a software that you can download from the internet. It's free. And once you have it downloaded and opened up, and we go to the free sounds and search for whoosh, we'll find whoosh sound effects. That's not the whoosh I'm searching for. Yeah, one of those is good, so we'll select this one. And then go to this thing, and then we can drag it right into Premiere. And again, don't forget to always adjust the audio.
Absolutely no one.
And we also want to fade in the audio, so Control D. And I'm just gonna make this shorter. And then we might want to have the subtitles above. No, we don't. And then another thing that you should definitely install is Premiere Composer. Just search it up, you'll find it. And if you go to Window Extensions and open this up, then you'll find this. And in transitions, you can, for example, find the zoom in transition. And if you want to have a transition between these two clips, you just drag and drop it onto there. Wait for a bit. Please don't crash, please don't crash, please don't crash, please. Thank you. Then you, again, adjust the audio. And then you have this transition. But the reason I do this is because I want this later part of this effect, but not the first part. So I'm literally just gonna cut it in half and add that to the beginning so that when the video starts, we have this zoom in effect. And then to speed up the pacing a bit more, I usually like to also add some just random GIFs. So if I say this will interest you, we'll cut this part out. Or well, we're gonna like put the subtitles up there, and then we can add a color matte. If you right click, new color matte, okay. Then you select your color, which, yeah, I'm gonna use kind of like this one. Okay, put that on there. And then put on some GIFs. This will interest you, so we're gonna go to giffer.com/, actually let's make it English, /listen. Yeah, these are bad. Interest. Yeah, that one's good. So just download that and put that in there, and that should be good. And in this case, it's full screen, so the color matte was useless. But I'm gonna remove some of the beginning and then have the end line up with the listen up.
Except myself, but this will interest you, so listen up.
And then we're gonna do a zoom in transition over here. Don't forget to adjust the sound. And then if we zoomed in now, then we should probably zoom out the next one. And now I'm talking about the private YouTuber community that I'm releasing, so I actually need to get some of the B-roll footage for that real quick. So in this case, it was literally just me like hovering with a mouse over like the community that I'm creating. So we're just gonna set the in and out points, only drag in the video, and then yeah, just add it. So I got myself some screenshots, and I'm just gonna add them like for the time that they fit in, and then we'll add some more transitions. For this part, I zoomed in on the community thing, and here's, by the way, where I would, for example, add rulers and guides to just see if this is centered, which it now is. So if you add images and you don't want to add like animations to them, you can also just do a shutter sound, such as this one, and just add them to each of the images. So when this one goes in, when this one goes in, by the way, Alt, click, and then drag to duplicate, and then -4. Yeah, that's pretty good. And if you want to move all of these out, like to the bottom at the same time, you can select all of these, go to Nest, okay, and then basically do the same thing we did earlier, but instead of doing it on the images, we're just gonna move the entire sequence out, which is basically grouping them together. And then in my preset pack, there's gonna be an image middle thing. So if you wanna put an image in the middle, like on the side, if you're talking, you can just drag and drop that on there.
Personalized help.
And then it has like a pop effect on it. But in this case, I'm also gonna add a crop to it and actually cut off the sides first, because they had like a black bar to it. And if you add a pop in, then you should also do a pop sound effect. or plop, I guess, such as this one. And then when you had like a longer talking section and you had something like this, then it can be time again to, for example, add some GIFs or stock footage or other footage that you recorded. So that's what I'm going to do over here. And I'm also going to add text again just to spice things up. And then I'll just search up the GIFs for it again. If you don't want to use GIFs, which is understandable, you can, for example, go to Pixabay, where you also can get sound effects, or you can go to Pexels, which is also an option. But you should make sure that the things that you're using are not too overused, because you want to still kind of be unique in a way. And if you want to add something that doesn't fit into the frame, hold on, let me just put the text on above. For example, like this, you can duplicate it below. And then for the bottom one, you can do bottom layer, blur etc. And then you have this, and then for the top one, you can do a drop shadow, and all of these are in the preset pack, and you can make something like this, for example. And this one doesn't need to be that scaled up, you can kind of have it like this.
If you join, you'll be making...
If a clip isn't long enough, for example, like this one, is very short, you can press R. Oh yeah, I do use this tool, rate stretch tool. Press R, and you can extend the clip by a bit. So for example, like this. And then the bottom ones I'm going to extend like this. Yeah, actually, that should be fine. And then you have something like that, even though the effects were way too short before. And then let's add some other transitions, for example, a light leak one, and then fade to black. You can do all of these by hand, but I mean, if you have a plugin like this one, which is free, why not use it? So I just repeated the process, everything I did in this video, I showed you how to do. So here's the final result.
This video has been sponsored by absolutely no one except myself, but this will interest you, so listen up. Today I'm releasing a private YouTuber community with different kinds of courses, personalized help, group coaching calls, access to bigger YouTubers that you can literally just DM and ask for feedback, and so much more. If you join, you'll be making good money with your YouTube channel in no time. And John, for example, said that his views actually doubled after he watched one of the courses, so check out the link in the description below, I promise it will help you.
I hope this editing guide helped you. This is literally what got me to 5k and 23k on my Minecraft channels, so it will get you to 1k very fast as well. But if you want to have personalized help, you know, there's like one thing that can help you out a lot. Have a nice day, see ya.